Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most unbelievable and astonishing stories in the entire world of rare coins. A story that captures curiosity, sparks excitement, and makes every collector and even everyday people start checking their pockets, their jars of old change, and those forgotten drawers where coins from decades ago often gather dust. Because today we're exploring the astonishing tale of the 2002 1-cent coin that some say could be worth an unimaginable $14 million dollars due to a series of bizarre, fascinating, and almost unbelievable minting errors, production anomalies, and theoretical possibilities that have fueled discussions, debates, and wild dreams among coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and curious viewers around the world. And as you settle in, prepare yourself to hear a deep, richly detailed journey into how a simple coin struck more than 20 years ago could become the center of one of the most captivating mysteries ever connected to United States currency. A coin that on the surface looks like an ordinary modern Lincoln cent, yet beneath that copper-plated exterior lies a world of potential mistakes, rare variations, accidental die issues, improbable combinations of planchet anomalies, and 1,000 what-ifs that together weave a story so absorbing that it has become legendary in coin-collecting circles. Because sometimes the most extraordinary things hide inside the most ordinary objects. And the 2002 1-cent coin is one of those objects whose secrets we are about to unravel in a journey filled with speculation, analysis, historical context, and countless theories that stretch from the imaginations of collectors to the technical depths of minting processes that might have gone wrong in ways so rare they almost defy belief. And we begin by considering the year 2002 itself. A relatively quiet year for the penny in terms of nationally recognized errors, but one that, according to some collectors, may have secretly produced a microfraction of coins exhibiting strange and extremely valuable traits due to overlooked mechanical failures, unnoticed planchet mixes, and unexpected die deterioration that never made headlines but existed in such tiny numbers that their rarity has since reached legendary status, with some whispers suggesting that one particular specimen, rumored to be the epitome of minting accidents, was discovered with a convergence of multiple error types rarely found together, creating a perfect storm of collectability that turned a single cent into something valued far beyond imagination. And although these stories often grow beyond their original scope, the allure they create cannot be denied as they feed into the broader fascination with how mint errors occur, beginning with the most basic possibility, an off-metal planchet, the dream of many collectors. Since an off-metal strike for a 2002 cent would mean the coin was accidentally struck on a leftover piece of metal from another denomination or even from a foreign coin, producing a weight, thickness, or coloration anomaly that is immediately noticeable to experts. And it's theorized that some 2002 cents may have been accidentally struck on planchets intended for coins like dimes or foreign copper-nickel pieces stored nearby during production, creating coins that weigh differently than the standard 2.5 grams expected for modern zinc-based cents, and such rare off-metal errors can skyrocket in value, sometimes into the tens or hundreds of thousands. But the legend of the 14,000,2002 cent arises from the idea that a hypothetical coin combining an off-metal strike with a double strike, a broad strike, and a dramatic die clash, all occurring simultaneously on a planchet that was never meant to be used for a cent, could exist in only one specimen that by sheer impossibility would become the holy grail of modern mint errors, treasured far beyond typical valuations because of the astronomical odds required to create such a piece. And collectors imagine what such a coin might look like, perhaps bearing distorted, overlapping impressions of Lincoln's profile, an elongated shape from improper collar support, ghostly mirrored outlines from a violent die clash where dies strike each other with no planchet between them, and metallic tones subtly different from normal cents, maybe more silvery, more golden, or unusually matte depending on the mystery. Metal. And this theoretical 2002 cent also sparks discussions of die rotation errors, where the reverse design could be rotated 50, 90, or even 180 degrees relative to the obverse, creating a bizarre alignment that collectors obsess over. And then there's the possibility of die cap errors, where a struck coin sticks to a die and continues stamping others, forming a bizarre, cup-shaped, deeply distorted coin that can be worth thousands on its own, but when imagined combined. With off-metal characteristics becomes a dreamlike rarity that could push its value into the millions. And another aspect fueling the legend is the theory that during the early 2000s, certain batches of coins may have been accidentally fed through machines with improperly adjusted pressure or misaligned dies, creating coins with unusually deep or shallow strikes, doubled or tripled images, or dramatic die deterioration where cracks, cuds, or breaks form on the die face, imprinting distinctive, raised lines or missing design sections onto the coins. And enthusiasts speculate that one extraordinary 2002 coin may have been struck at the exact moment a die shattered or splintered, leaving behind chaotic patterns that transform the coin into an artwork of unintended minting chaos. And the combination of such errors would exponentially increase rarity, especially if only one coin ever escaped the minting process before the malfunction was noticed and the dies replaced. And it is precisely this idea of singular rarity that contributes to the breathtaking $14 million narrative, because collectors always value uniqueness far more than mass-produced items. And the possibility, however slim, that a single coin exists embodying multiple extremely rare errors fuels imaginations and debates across forums, auction previews, and private collector discussions, where enthusiasts describe hypothetical characteristics, such as dramatic clip planchets where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to metal sheet misfeeding, or double denomination errors where a cent is struck over an already minted coin of another type, causing two unrelated designs to overlap in a surreal collage of images that defy normal expectations. And these double denomination coins alone can be worth huge sums. So imagining a 2002 cent struck over a dime or foreign coin with additional errors layered on top sends valuations and fantasy soaring. But the story expands further when we consider environmental anomalies, such as coins being struck on improperly annealed planchets that reveal unexpected color changes, streaking patterns, grainy textures, or weak strikes that make experts pause and investigate. And every time a collector finds a coin with unusual appearance, there's hope that it might belong to this mythical category of ultra-rare 2002 errors, and the more the legend grows. The next 1996 1 cent USA coin today, as we take a deep dive into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coins, a story that captures the imagination of collectors, treasure hunters, casual hobbyists, and anyone fascinated by the possibility that something as small and ordinary as a 1 cent coin for 1996 could turn out to be worth an unbelievable $12 million. And today we're going to explore in great detail how such a scenario could unfold, what kinds of mistakes and errors could turn a simple copper-plated zinc penny into a legendary piece of numismatic lore, and why rare coins with unique defects and unusual production histories often become some of the most sought-after treasures in the collecting world. So sit back and get ready for a deep and engaging journey into the mysteries, myths, mechanical quirks, and unexpected events that can happen inside the U.S. Mint, and how all of those factors theoretically come together to create the perfect storm that transforms an everyday 1996 1 cent coin into a multi-million-dollar artifact that captures global attention and sparks a frenzy among collectors who dream of finding one of their own hidden somewhere in a jar, drawer, pocket, attic box, thrift store register, or anywhere ordinary coins might be sitting unnoticed. Because the incredible thing about error coins is that their stories begin not with intentional design, but with the unpredictable reality of human oversight, machine failure, environmental interference, or simple randomness during the minting process. And when those unlikely moments combine to create features so rare that only a single example or a tiny handful survive, the value of such coins can skyrocket far beyond what anyone ever imagined, causing people to wonder how many other potentially valuable treasures could be circulating right under their noses. So as we begin discussing the legendary tale of the 1996 1 cent coin rumored to be valued at $12 million, Dollars, it is important to understand the context behind what makes certain coins unbelievably valuable. And that usually comes down to rarity, desirability, demand, historical significance, and most importantly, an error or combination of errors so extreme or so unique that the coin becomes practically one of a kind. And with the 1996 penny we are examining today, the myths surrounding its value often center on a cocktail of dramatic minting errors ranging from off-metal strikes to double dies. Misalignments, die caps, broad strikes, mule errors, planchet swaps, transitional compositions, experimental stock anomalies, significant die cracks, shattered dies, bonded pairs, multi-strike impressions, and even hyperdramatic printing mistakes that collectors can only dream of encountering. Because in the world of numismatic errors, not all mistakes are created equal. Some are common and hardly worth more than a few dollars, while others are so breathtakingly unusual that they command enormous prices. And when you imagine a theoretical 1996 penny that combines multiple major errors into a single coin, you begin to see why such a coin could be thought of as being worth $12 million, especially when you consider how intense the market becomes when serious collectors start competing for the ownership of something that might be unique in the entire world. So let's explore the potential errors that could contribute to this extraordinary value and imagine the kinds of production anomalies that would need to occur to elevate a simple penny from spare change to millionaire treasure, starting with the possibility of a rare off-metal error. Because in 1996, the mint commonly used copper-plated zinc planchets. But imagine if a stray planchet of a completely different metal, perhaps bronze from a leftover early 80s stock, or even a foreign coin blank accidentally mixed into the batch, was struck with a 1996 Lincoln design, creating a coin whose weight, density, color, and sound would all be different from a normal penny. And because wrong planchet errors are already rare, having one occur in a year where millions of ordinary coins were made would instantly elevate the rarity. But then imagine compounding that rarity with a striking error like a double strike, particularly one where the second strike is dramatically misaligned or rotated, producing overlapping images of Lincoln's profile or the memorial building, since 1996 featured the memorial reverse, making the coin visually fascinating and unmistakably unique. And then envision that the double strike also includes a bold double die error, perhaps with Lincoln's date, the word liberty, or the motto, "I in God, we trust," showing dramatic letter separation, something collectors passionately hunt for. And then imagine that the reverse also contains doubling on the lettering of United States of America, or E pluribus unum, creating a synergistic effect where two of the most desirable types of errors, wrong planchet and major double die, exist on the same coin, making it the kind of piece that becomes almost mythical. But the story doesn't stop there, because now imagine that the coin also exhibits a partial collar strike, where the collar did not fully enclose the planchet during striking, creating a slightly expanded railroad rim appearance which collectors love because it indicates mechanical interruption during the strike. And now layer on top of that the possibility of a broad strike error where the coin spreads wider than normal because the retaining collar was absent or malfunctioning, leading to a slightly larger diameter penny, something that instantly catches the eye of an expert or even a novice collector. And now, consider the possibility of a die break, perhaps even a major retained cud, on the obverse, where a portion of the die chipped away and left behind a dramatic raised blob of metal on the coin itself, something that not only adds physical uniqueness, but also provides a timestamp of the die's damaged state. Because the combination of multiple major striking errors on one coin is so incredibly rare that the chances of these anomalies aligning are astronomically low. But that is exactly how value is created in the world of error coins. And now imagine that the coin exhibits yet another extreme rarity, a mule error, where the obverse of a 1996 penny was mistakenly paired with a reverse intended for another denomination or another year, something that has happened only a handful of times in mint history, making mule errors among the rarest and most valuable mistakes ever recorded, with some selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. And if a 1996 penny were to carry a reverse that didn't belong to it at all, imagine a dime reverse, nickel reverse, or even a four-denomination reverse accidentally paired with the Lincoln obverse. the value of the coin would instantly skyrocket. But then picture the possibility that this mule strike occurred on the wrong planchet, resulting in a coin that is both a mule and off-metal error at the same time, something so unbelievably rare that collectors might never see another one like it in their lifetimes. And then add the idea that the coin somehow survived the mint's quality control systems, circulation, handling, time, and environment to remain an extraordinarily high grade, perhaps even uncirculated, making it not only rare in terms of error pattern, but rare in terms of condition. And now consider the possibility of a dramatic die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of reverse elements behind Lincoln's portrait or faint outlines of Lincoln's silhouette behind the memorial, creating a hauntingly beautiful overlay of unintended design elements that collectors absolutely cherish. And imagine that all of these errors, each one individually capable of raising value, appeared together on a single 1996 penny, forming a kind of ultimate error coin, a Frankenstein of minting mistakes, a miracle of mechanical failure, and a specimen so extraordinary that its existence alone would spark enormous bidding wars in major auction houses, bringing in wealthy collectors. Welcome and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into one of the most astonishing, unbelievable, and captivating stories in the world of modern coin collecting. A world where the smallest denomination can unexpectedly rise to unimaginable heights and transform into a treasure worth more than luxurious mansions, exotic cars, or even entire private islands. And today we're exploring the unbelievable tale of the 2010 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, experts, investors, historians, and enthusiasts by reaching a staggering and mind-bending value of $10 million. A value that no one could have predicted for a coin minted in the era of mass production, industrial precision, and advanced quality control. Yet this particular cent has defied all expectations by harboring a combination of mysterious errors, peculiar anomalies, minting mistakes, production oddities, and extremely unlikely conditions converging in such a rare way that the coin has become a phenomenon, a symbol of how chance, history, science, craftsmanship, and human curiosity can collide to produce something so valuable that it becomes almost mythical. And as we unravel the intricate details of this extraordinary 2010 cent, we will journey through the possible errors that may exist on the coin, the subtle imperfections that elevate its significance, the misstrikes and doubled elements that collectors obsess over, the off-metal possibilities that spark speculation, and the shadowy mysteries surrounding how such a piece could have escaped the strict oversight of the mint, emerging into the world not as just another common coin, but as an unexpected masterpiece of error-based rarity. So let us begin by imagining the most widely discussed feature that makes this particular 2010 cent worth $10 million, an extremely dramatic and visually captivating double-die obverse, a doubling so intense and unmistakable that it completely transforms the appearance of the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's profile, with the contours of his face appearing almost doubled like an echo frozen in metal, giving him a surreal and spectral look that immediately grabs the attention of anyone examining the coin closely. And collectors have speculated endlessly about how such a dramatic doubling could have occurred when the mint had already implemented highly refined processes to minimize the occurrence of double dies. But this coin seems to contradict all expectations by presenting a doubling so extreme that it appears more like a catastrophic misalignment of the working hub during die creation, a freak mechanical event that was somehow never caught during die inspection. And the fascination doesn't end there, because some experts theorize that the doubling on this coin is not merely the typical kind seen in known errors, but a rare hybrid double die combined with machine doubling, creating a layered visual effect that is so unusual that it has become the subject of conference discussions, online debates, and numismatic research papers attempting to determine how many distinct stages of doubling are present on the coin's surface, which adds to its mystery and contributes to its astronomical value. But that is only one part of the equation, because this 2010 cent is believed to also exhibit a striking off-metal composition, a deviation that has fueled countless theories about the minting process malfunctioning in ways no one expected, as some believe the coin may have been struck on a transitional planchet not intended for 2010 circulation cents, possibly a leftover experimental alloy planchet or an off-spec blank that entered the production line by accident, resulting in a unique surface texture, unusual reflectivity, slightly different weight, and unexpected reactions under certain lighting angles. With some observers claiming that the coin gives off a distinctive tone when tapped gently, a property sometimes associated with exotic alloys or improperly mixed metallic compositions. And this off-metal theory becomes even more enticing when we consider that mistakes with planchets are exceedingly rare in modern years, because the Mint is believed to have nearly perfected the tracking and quality assurance systems used to prevent foreign or transitional planchets from accidentally entering the presses. Yet this single cent appears to have slipped through like an anomaly in the matrix, defying modern protocols and becoming an instant legend as a result. And as if the double die and off-metal composition weren't enough to send collectors into a frenzy, additional microscopic examination has allegedly revealed the possibility of a misaligned die strike combined with a partial collar issue, meaning the coin may show subtle yet unmistakable signs of a strike that occurred when the planchet wasn't perfectly seated inside the collar, leading to a barely perceptible yet measurable distortion along the rim, creating an uneven strike profile that collectors find irresistible because it provides further evidence that this coin experienced multiple unusual conditions during its creation. And while these errors individually would already make a coin rare and valuable, the extraordinary convergence of all these anomalies on a single 2010 cent creates a perfect storm of desirability and impossibility, elevating it to the multi-million-dollar realm where only the rarest specimens in numismatic history exist. And this coin's story becomes even more impressive when we explore the theories about how such a coin could have left the Mint unnoticed, with some suggesting that it may have been part of a small batch struck during a transitional time when machinery was being recalibrated, serviced, or replaced, a moment when unusual mechanical conditions might have arisen. And others speculate it may have been struck during a graveyard shift when oversight was lighter, or perhaps during a run where a misconfigured die was accidentally used before employees caught the issue. Yet the biggest mystery remains how this coin made its way into circulation or into private hands when the Mint's modern safeguards are designed to catch even minor abnormalities. And this mystery has given rise to theories of intentional release, unintentional oversight, or even the possibility that a Mint employee discovered the coin and unknowingly released it without recognizing its significance. And as collectors examine the coin further, rumors have begun to spread about additional microscopic abnormalities, such as microcracks in the fields, unexpected strike pressure marks, unusual flow lines, and even the possibility of lightly rotated die alignment creating a strange angular relationship between the obverse and reverse, a feature that fascinates collectors because rotated die errors in recent decades are incredibly rare. And all of these details combined inspire passionate discussions among numismatists who attempt to piece together the coin's true origin story, each proposing their own theories about the machine conditions, human involvement, and environmental factors that may have contributed to the coin's creation. And as the coin gained recognition and eventually achieved its mythical $10 million valuation, it became a symbol of hope for collectors everywhere who dream of discovering a rare and valuable treasure in their pocket change, reminding them that even in an age where coins are mass-produced, with robotic precision, the unexpected can still happen, and extraordinary mistakes can still be struck. And this encourages countless people to check their coins more closely, to research Mint errors more deeply, to enter the world of numismatics with renewed energy, and to search for the next impossible discovery that might rewrite the history of modern coin collecting. And as the legend of this 2010 cent grows, so does the fascination with the concept that a tiny copper-plated zinc coin, originally worth only a fraction of a dollar, can become worth more than entire collections of rare gold pieces, simply because chance, mechanical failure, metallurgical oddities, and historical curiosity aligned perfectly to create something truly one in a billion or perhaps even one in a trillion. Last 1987, D1 cent USA coined today's fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and the incredible stories they hold, especially the story of the 1987 D1 cent, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide and has reached an astonishing value of $14 million due to its unique errors and mistakes. And today we are going to explore every intricate detail that makes this penny not just a piece of metal, but a treasure of unimaginable worth. So sit back and prepare to dive deep into the quirks of minting history, the anomalies that make coins like this extremely rare, and the potential reasons why collectors are willing to pay a small fortune for what many might dismiss as an ordinary cent. The 1987 D penny is part of the Lincoln cent series, which has been in production since 1909, a coin that normally holds a face value of just 1 cent, but in rare instances, such as this one, it becomes a marvel of numismatic fascination because of the errors introduced during its minting process at the Denver Mint. And while the majority of 1987 D pennies were struck correctly, producing the expected uniform design, there exist a very small number of coins where misalignment, doubling, and die cracks occurred in ways that created something extraordinary. These errors are sometimes subtle and can be overlooked by the untrained eye, but to a seasoned collector, they represent the pinnacle of rarity and the potential for life-changing investment. One of the most famous errors associated with a 1987 D penny is the double die obverse. In this type of error, the minting die itself had a misalignment or doubled engraving, meaning when the coin was struck, the design elements such as Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions were duplicated slightly offset, giving a ghost-like or shadowed appearance. And this effect, while technically a mistake, makes each coin unique because no two double die coins are ever identical. Furthermore, in addition to doubled die errors, there were instances of repunched mint marks, a scenario where the Denver D mint mark was struck more than once, slightly misaligned on the coin surface, creating overlapping impressions that are visually striking and instantly noticeable to collectors who know how to spot them. Another fascinating aspect of the 1987 D penny's errors includes die cracks and cuts, which are tiny fissures or breaks in the metal of the die that get transferred to the coin during striking. These manifest as raised lines or blobs on the coin itself, sometimes forming unusual patterns or shapes that are entirely unrepeatable. The combination of these anomalies adds layers of complexity and uniqueness to each affected coin, and it is precisely this rarity and individuality that drives the astronomical prices. Because collectors and investors recognize that the odds of finding a coin with these precise errors are incredibly low, and owning such a coin is akin to possessing a one-of-a-kind artifact from the history of U.S. minting. The market for rare coins like the 1987 D penny is influenced not just by the physical characteristics, but also by provenance and condition, meaning a coin that has been preserved in near-perfect condition with its errors intact will command significantly higher prices than one that has been circulated and worn. The grading system established by professional numismatic organizations meticulously evaluates factors such as luster, strike quality, and the visibility of errors, assigning a numerical value that heavily influences market value. In the case of the 1987 D penny, examples that exhibit strong, clear doubling on the obverse or a perfectly visible repunched mint mark in a high grade have been known to reach extraordinary prices, even millions of dollars. And while it may seem incredible that a 1 cent coin could be worth $14 million, the combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and the visual impact of its errors create a perfect storm of desirability in the collector world. Additionally, speculation about the possible survival rate of such error coins contributes to their immense value. Because while the mint produced millions of 1987 D pennies, only a tiny fraction escaped unnoticed into circulation with significant errors, and over decades, many may have been lost, damaged, or melted down, making the coins that do exist today even more precious. It is also worth noting that the allure of the 1987 D penny is enhanced by its story within the broader context of coin collecting. The Lincoln Cent series has been a staple of U.S. coinage for over a century, and collectors often aim to acquire rare variations within familiar coins. The idea that something as ordinary as a penny can transform into a treasure worth millions embodies the magic of numismatics and fuels the passionate interest in error coins. Moreover, beyond the technical aspects of die doubling, repunched mint marks, and die cracks, there are often debates and theories among collectors about other possible errors that might exist undetected in private collections, perhaps coins that escaped scrutiny or were misclassified. And this ongoing mystery adds an element of adventure to collecting, a constant hope that another undiscovered 1987 D penny with extraordinary characteristics might surface. The combination of artistry, mechanical imperfection, and sheer chance makes each error coin a fascinating object of study. And for the 1987 D penny, the convergence of these factors has created a coin whose value far exceeds its humble face value. And as we consider the economics of rare coins, the price is not determined by metal content, but by human perception and demand. Collectors are willing to pay vast sums for uniqueness, historical intrigue, and the prestige associated with owning something extremely rare. In this case, the 1987 D penny represents both a historical artifact and a financial investment, often featured in major auction houses, with records showing that pennies with the most prominent and documented errors can command prices in the seven-figure range. The methodology behind valuation includes rarity, error type, grade, eye appeal, and market trends, each factor compounding to make certain coins truly priceless. And beyond the monetary aspect, the 1987 D penny tells a story of minting processes and quality control at the Denver Mint during that period, illustrating how even highly standardized industrial processes are subject to human and mechanical error, which in turn creates opportunities for collectors to discover anomalies. For enthusiasts, understanding the precise types of errors, double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, cuds, offsetter strikes, and more, requires careful examination with magnification. An experienced numismatist spend years learning to identify the subtle characteristics that distinguish an error coin from a normal strike. Furthermore, historical records and mint documentation provide insights into why certain errors occurred. For instance, overworked or misaligned dies, worn equipment, or slight misfeeds of planchets could lead to doubling, cuds, or repunching. And while these are minor imperfections in production, they transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a treasure for the ages. The excitement surrounding such coins extends into the realm of auctions and private sales, where collectors may compete vigorously, sometimes over multiple phone lines or online bidding platforms, driving prices to astonishing levels. In fact, the $14 million valuation of certain 1987 D pennies is reflective not only of scarcity and error prominence, but also of the intense competitive market among serious collectors who recognize the historical and financial significance of owning such a rare piece. As a result, the 1987 D penny serves as a compelling case study for anyone interested in numismatics, demonstrating how meticulous attention to detail, a deep appreciation of mint history, and an understanding of error types converge to create coins that are both beautiful and extraordinarily valuable. It also highlights the fascinating psychological aspect of collecting, where rarity, uniqueness, and human fascination with anomalies turn a simple copper disc into a cultural